In this round, we'll be focusing on legal review, which includes redaction. Now, this is one of the most important steps in the EDR workflow, and it's often known as the bread and butter of the legal industry, as we've always focused on document review in our industry. Now, mapping to the EDR workflow, some of the things that we're considering in the review stage is, do I have a strategy to be able to cull down the data? Do I have to run basic keyword searches, or am I able to leverage different types of filters to really narrow down the scope of my search? And then am I able to add work product to my data? Do I have attorneys and legal staff coming in and tagging my documents? The other thing we're going to be considering is some of the new technology that we find inside of eDiscovery platforms, including message threading, which allows us to do a faster, relevant data discussion review. And then we also want to look at redactions. What type of toolkit do we have as the needs of litigators has increased in the redaction phase? Has the toolkit been built out and more robust? And then am I able to go next level as it relates to redactions and do bulk redactions across my entire data set, as opposed to traditionally being able to do redactions on one document at a time?
Now we'll walk through how to manage a legal review along with redacting data inside of the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution. So the Advanced eDiscovery solution places the data that's been collected and processed into the case under review sets. So we'll choose this review set here. And at initial entrance into our review set, we can see that we do have a saved queries box here on the left, along with a filters box. As well, we have our documents placed out here in front of us. Now right away, I'd like to take a look at my filters to see what data I have here. Can I do a bit of early case assessment just from looking at my filters? Unfortunately, the filters don't populate for us automatically. We don't get a large intelligence from the filters field as it exists when we first come into our case. We'll have to add a condition in order to see how much data lines up to the different filters that we're looking for. In addition, you can see here from the review pane in this what we would call the document list view, I'm unable to tell whether I'm looking at a parent document or its attachment. Generally, when there's a parent document and it's an attached document, it'll be slightly off-center so that it will look like it's an attachment to the document. But from an initial view here, although there's a lot of fields available to me, I'm not able to tell whether it's an email or a document that's attached to that email. So let's go ahead and add a condition to our filters. I do want to look at data by file type. I'm looking for a particular PDF. So if I put in file types, native file extension will work for me. Now, there's a mystery here. I don't actually know which field I'm looking for and which field has it been populated into the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution in the review sets to actually leverage the filters field. I'm just taking a guess here with the native file extension. And you can see that it does populate and gives me some numbers as to how many types of documents I have inside of my case. And if I actually click on any of these, though these are not hyperlinked, it'll simply check the checkbox so it doesn't change my view automatically. So I want to look at some PDFs across these 3,490 documents. It's telling me 26 of them are PDFs. And when I hit the search button, it does in fact pull up all the PDFs inside of my review set. Now I'm looking for data that's related to the COVID-19 guidelines from the CDC. And you can see that as the window starts propagating to the right and opening up more windows, it does get bunched up quite a bit. I do need to start minimizing some of my panels here in order to view my document better. Now I'm looking at this PDF document here, and now I want to go ahead and run some redactions on it. And so I'm going to have to go into the annotate view. Now it takes a bit of time for the annotate view to load. And now once the annotate view has loaded, I want to start redacting some of my documents. So we'll use this drawing drop-down menu and choose area redaction. And so we can start dragging our cursor along to the area we want to redact, and it will in fact redact it for us. A couple of things I'm looking for. I wanted to drag it across the text. There's no text redaction available to me. In addition, I want to use a reason code as to why I'm redacting this data for this particular reason. I can't actually add any type of reason code to the redaction area. And then the other final thing I'm missing is that this is not a transparent redaction. Now that I've redacted it and I'm going to move on to my next document, I won't allow for other reviewers that are coming in and taking a look at this case to see what was behind this redaction. And that can be important sometimes, is that even though we do need to redact out this data and a reviewer has determined that we do need to redact it, that doesn't mean that I want to remove the text so that another reviewer couldn't come in and take a look. And when I remove the current drawings, the entire redaction is removed. So I don't have an unredact feature to unredact. So I'm really missing a full toolkit for redactions inside of the legal review sets. Now let's take a look at what the user experience is for both legal review and redactions in the Veritas eDiscovery platform. So you can see that I'm inside now my analysis and review module. That's where legal review is being done. And when we come in, we have our filters pane here populated on the left, as well as some previous searches and saved searches that have been run in the case. As well, in the document list view, you will now see that we do have each document broken down by the dashed lines. But the other thing you'll notice is that I am able to tell whether I'm looking at an email, whether I'm looking at a loose file, or whether I'm looking at an email with its attachment. You can see with the dashed lines illustrating an attachment. This is something that I found was lacking in the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution. That was unable to ascertain whether I was looking at a loose file or I was looking at an attachment to the email. The other thing we'll point out is that in addition to the document list view, we have a discussions list view. Now, discussion list view can be great technology to leverage when you've collected a large amount of data and processed those emails in, but you may be looking at the original email of a thread at one time and then a reply of a thread at another time. While doing review in more of a message threading format, we're able to bunch that data together. So you can see here just from this car show messaging thread that I have my initial email that was sent, as well as the follow-up email that was sent together inside of one thread, allowing me to review a mass of email in a shorter amount of time using discussion threading. Now, all my filters are already being populated for me here. There's no conditions that I have to go and choose in order to build out my filters. And the other nice thing that we'll see here, we'll go to file type, is that it actually breaks down which particular loose files and attachments I have inside of my collection set. So if I'm looking for a particular PDF, if you remember in the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution, I had to first go and build out my filter list and then come over to see if there was any of those documents inside my case. And then going a step further, I needed to run a search in order to pull the PDFs up. Here inside of the Veritas eDiscovery platform, my numbers that are giving me filter results across my data set are hyperlinked as well. And so when I go ahead and click on those numbers, the screen changes and I'm automatically populating all the PDFs that I wanted to take a look at for my case. I can go ahead and click on the PDF and it'll open up for me here. And I can also go into a review mode to be able to run redactions on the document. So when I come into my document here, you can see I've already illustrated some of the different redactions that are able to be done inside of the document. The other thing you'll see here is the Redaction Ribbon on the left, giving me several different options for redactions. Now from the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution, the only option that I have was the Redact area, which is available to me as well inside of my tool. But in addition to Redact area, I'm also able to redact text. So it gives me a cursor, and then I can drag the cursor around the text that I want redacted, and it'll redact it out for me, giving me more accuracy to my redaction. I'm also able to give a reason code. If I'm able to say that this is PII, then this redaction that I've just made now will be associated with a PII reason code. I'm also able to allow an area. So if I've redacted a large area and I want to allow a certain area, I'm able to drag my cursor over, and now it allows me to see some of the text that I had originally redacted. I'm also able to run a find and redact, and this was a feature that was not even available in the Microsoft eDiscovery solution. When I run redaction for privacy info, the search is now going to run across this document that we're viewing, and it's going to look for PII like social security numbers, phone numbers, email addresses, and date of birth, and any names that I might specifically be looking for, and attaching the PII reason code to it. I'm also able to run a find and redact. If there's a particular word that I'm looking for inside of this document, I'll be able to type in a word and hit redact, and it'll go and find that word across the entire document and apply a redaction to that word. Other options include finding and redacting a from and a to, and as well redacting the entire page as I need to. So you'll notice quite a bit of a difference between what we saw in Microsoft solutions and what we're seeing in the Veritas eDiscovery platform's single page redaction. We also introduced a new technology in Veritas EDP 9.0, which is called bulk redactions. In bulk redactions now, as opposed to running redactions on a single page, we're able to run redactions across our entire data set or a folder or a set of documents that we're currently viewing. From the Actions drop-down menu, I'm able to pull up the bulk redaction option. Again, I can attach it to my default redaction set or a specific redaction set. This here is illustrating a subject access request redaction set. And I'm simply asked to type in the text that I'm looking for and go ahead and give it a reason code, PII, IP. Give it a color if I want to, and it'll go ahead and run across the entire data set for that particular word. Bulk redactions is something that has been introduced now in the eDiscovery space for a couple of years, but it's still taking time for different eDiscovery providers to actually integrate that technology in a more seamless manner within the larger platform. Veritas did it in the 9.0 solution, and we're happy to say that we're building upon it as we grow the technology more. So when we compare the user experience for legal review inside of the Microsoft Advanced eDiscovery solution as compared to the Veritas eDiscovery platform, I find that the Microsoft one is still lacking. It seems like it's at a bit of an infancy stage. Whereas at the Veritas eDiscovery platform level, not only do we have a robust review environment built out for litigators and legal teams to review their data, but we're also going next generation on some of the technologies that we're leveraging, including bulk redactions.
Wow, Irfan really had him on the ropes there with redaction. You could see there was no text redaction, no reason codes, no way to make the content opaque after you've redacted it so you knew what you redacted as an administrator or a reviewer. There is no message threading. It's much easier to see the message threading and the attachments in EDP, and much easier with the filters with EDP to see and actually have them linked and then actually go straight to the content that you wanted to see.